we are looking at the many applications, and there are a ton of them. We are looking at the many applications that we are able to realize because of networking. And what we're going to look at in this video is something known as collaborative computing. And that's my own phrase, collaborative computing, but it's any type of computing that's done where people are able to come together and collaborate. And there's some really cool things going on in the world where people are able to do collaborative computing. They're able to collaborate with their computers. This is what Wikipedia calls it, computer-supported collaboration. And one of the things that you find out there with computer-supported collaboration is something known as crowdsourcing. And so crowdsourcing is where a lot of people come together, and work on one type of an idea. So that'd be crowdsourcing. So if I wanted to crowdsource, like, anything, I could ask people, what do you think of this? Or put together some site where people help me with some idea. So here's an example of that. There's this thing, if you go to Google and you search for DNA folding, you will find this talk, this TED Talk, about DNA folding. And basically what it's going to tell you, and it's a cool talk to watch, is that there's this video game that you could go to right here, and you could practice doing this scientific thing called DNA folding. And it's something that scientists couldn't figure out. So they put it out in the world, and they said, will other people be able to help us do this? And so other people started experimenting and playing with it. And then, lo and behold, the best protein folder in the world is a woman in England who during the day is a secretary. And she was able to do protein folding, DNA folding, like nobody else in the world. And that was made possible because they put this information out and allowed other people to experiment with it. And so that would be an example of collaborative computing or crowdsourcing the project. There's also another really cool talk about crowdsourcing. Let me see if I could find it. Okay, so here's the video I was looking for. It is another TED Talk. It is Don Tapscott, 4 Principles for the Open World. And it's actually going to be one of the videos that we're going to watch at the end of everything we learn about networking. It's a fantastic video. And in there, what he talks about is he has a neighbor who used to be a banker but then became a gold miner. He bought a gold mining company. And he knew that there was gold inside this mountain, but he couldn't find the gold, even though all of his engineers were saying, yes, there's gold in that mountain. We just don't know where. And so he took all of the data and he put it online, and he said, I will pay anybody $500,000 if you could find my gold in this mountain. And here's all the data. And so all these people submitted results, and ultimately somebody created a virtual environment with a virtual helicopter that you could virtually fly through all of his mountain, through this mountain that was, simulated with all this data. And he found all the gold, and now his company is worth $10 billion. And so that's an example of collaborative computing and crowdsourcing, and the amazing things we can accomplish if we are able to harness the brain power of everybody. I mean, Google and the internet and search results, and videos. I mean, all this stuff is an amazing sort of byproduct or the result of everybody coming together and working together. And that's really what Web 2.0 is. If you ever heard of Web 2.0, if you've ever heard of that phrase, that means that there's like all these people contributing to it. That when you have a website, you no longer have to create all the content for it. Other people contribute a ton of content. And that's one of the main principles behind this concept of Web 2.0. But what we're talking about is collaborative computing, and in particular, we were talking about crowdsourcing, where we take an idea and we give it to the crowd, and the crowd helps us work with it. Another crowdsourcing thing, which is pretty cool, is something known as the Johnny Cash Project, which I've already mentioned to you, and that's awesome to check out if you haven't checked that out. And then we also have Amazon Mechanical Turk, if I've yet to mention this. And the Mechanical Turk is this thing where you could get people to do really small pieces of work over and over again. And this is going to be covered when we talk about, when we see another TED Talk known as Artfully Visualizing Our Humanity by Aaron Koblin. So we'll learn more about the Johnny Cash Project next week, and also Amazon Turk. We're going to learn more about that next week when we watch this YouTube video by Aaron Koblin, artfully visualizing our humanity. So we'll learn more about Amazon Turk and the Johnny Cash project then. So that's crowdsourcing. There's also this concept of crowdfunding, where we get a lot of people to give a little bit of money towards a project. And Kickstarter.com is one of the main crowdfunding sources. And you could go in here and you could find crowdfunding projects by region or by popular. You know, so I'm just looking here at some of the different crowdfunding projects that are out there. And then finally, after talking about crowdsourcing and crowdfunding, there is also, of course, multiplayer video games. And just recently, Grand Theft Auto launched theirs online just yesterday, October 1st. You know, where you could get involved, where, you know, you're in the game environment and there are other characters in the game environment that are controlled by other real humans. And so that's a type of collaboration or collaborative computing where people are coming together and working together. So networking has a lot of amazing applications where we all kind of connect and share information and share resources. I've only touched on them. You know, when we were talking about operating systems, we talked about an operating system that could maybe work with, you know, like a distributed operating system that works with like 100 or 1,000 separate individual computers and uses all of their processing power at once. And so you could create, you know, a network of different computers distributed all around the world that work on the same project. That would be another example of collaborative computing. So there's really a tremendous amount of applications for being able to connect our computers and connect with each other and share information and resources to do amazing things, and also to play, like with Grand Theft Auto 5, which might not necessarily be the best video game to play, but it's certainly engaging. All right, so that's a little bit more about the applications of networking. In the next video, we'll take a look at terminology or telemedicine, and then after that, we're going to jump into learning some terminology related to networks and looking at how networks actually work.